2, 3.
Alright, time for my team, the Philadelphia Union. Oh boy, is it a year to be excited? I really hope so. My family has had season tickets since the Union started, except for this year. We've been to the playoffs once, and just because we didn't get tickets this year, it'll probably be amazing. I don't know, probably not. I don't have a whole lot of hope. And I'm a pessimist, so whatever. Let's just start. Let's just go. Ready, go. Okay. Starting at the back. Blake. Last year, our goalie situation was a debacle. I don't know how many of you remember, but we started off with that Mboli. I always called him Stromboli. I think from the Algerian national team, who was amazing in the World Cup and all this stuff. And then we signed him, spent all this money on him. Comes over, he sucks, and then ends up leaving. The coach sent him home while we were still paying him. Great deal. A lot of Union players were incredibly frustrated with that, and the fact that we spent our #1 draft pick on a goalie. It was really confusing, really strange. But this year, it looks like Blake is going to get the start. He's young. He's $5 million, so that is an obviously huge benefit to him. Union had a lot of goals scored on him last year. And, you know, partially the defense was just constantly changing. There was never really a time when they were constant and got to really gel with each other for a while. So that might have been part of the issue. A lot of guys rotating. So Blake, though, a lot of natural talent, but a lot to learn. He's gonna make some amazing saves. It's unfortunate goalies don't get like bonus points for super awesome saves, but a save is a save. I still think he's probably gonna do some harebrained things this year, coming out when he shouldn't have, or not coming out when he should have, things like that. $5 million starting keeper, maybe a good guy to put on your bench. Going to defenders, starting it with the center backs. This list I'm looking at has Marquez and Anderson. Marquez is $6 million, Anderson is $7 million. Anderson is new to the MLS. Shh. So, anyway, Anderson's new. Marquez, he was with us last year. When he played, he looked pretty good to me, personally. I kind of like him. Not the fastest guy in the world. And I've been watching all of our preseason games, and I probably know a little bit more about the Union than most teams. But I've been watching preseason, and there's a guy named Yara that they picked up. I think he's a rookie. Man, he looks so good. I think, personal opinion, the Union is going to maybe do a little bit of what they did last year, rotating players, trying to figure out who their best fielded team is, and not just in the defensive roles, but up the field a little bit too. So it's probably smart, at least at the beginning of the season here, to avoid Philadelphia Union defenders. It pains me to say that, but it's true. The list also has Fabinho and Gaddis on the outsides, and I'm not entirely sure. I've heard some things about Gaddis that he might not be starting the season. I don't know. I love Gaddis as a person. I think he's a cool guy. I've never met him. But player, he struggles a little bit sometimes. He is fast, incredibly fast. When he does mess up, he usually is very quick to get back and cover the person he just lost the ball to or whatever. But he doesn't get many cards, stuff like that. I think he's a pretty intelligent player. I know he does a lot of off-season studies on other teams. Fabinho, I'm not saying priceless. Gaddis is $7 million. I think it might be a little steep. Again, I keep saying I'm trying to avoid the guys on the outside, the wingers and the outside backs. I just think you can get a lot more points out of other positions like the center backs and attacking mids, stuff like that. So Gaddis, I would avoid. Fabinho on the other side, 6.5 million. Not a bad price. I'm kind of glad to see him starting. I think last year he was competing with Sheenan Williams, and now Williams is gone, which I have no problem with. But Fabinho is a good player, but he is going to get cards. He is going to frustrate you with that. And it's going to really be frustrating when your team gets down 2 goals, and then he gets a yellow card, and then he gets another yellow card. So you're losing tons of points there, but he gets up in the attack probably more than most of the defenders in the league. Um, I don't know if that's frustrating for the coach. If I were a coach, I would say, dude, stop, settle down. You need to play defense before you play offense. But he is good. He's a little guy, but he's fast. Puts in good crosses. So, personally, if any of these defenders you really wanted to have a Philadelphia Union defender, I would say it should be Fabinho. I think his role is pretty well locked in. There's a couple other players, Rosenberry, rookie, might get a couple chances to see the field this year. Don't know. Moving on to the midfield, we've got Adu and Nogueira, both solid guys, solid players. Nogueira is one of those guys that when you watch him, you just don't understand how he can keep the ball at his feet the way he does. Like he just has a really good way of keeping track of it and dribbling around people. I just blows my mind. Adu has had some ups and downs in the MLS the past couple of years. I think part of it trying to get him to his true position, which they're doing this year. He's going to be playing defensive mid, which is good. I think that's where he belongs. I think that's where he does his best. He's $8 million. It's not terrible for a defensive mid, especially. I mean, I think you're buying more the name than anything else. His passing is not great. I think Nogueira is. If you want either of those guys in a fantasy way, I think Nogueira is the better option. He's a little cheaper, and I think he'll get you more points, honestly. So we move up the field a little bit. We've got Pontius on the left side. This pains me a little bit. Pontius has kind of sort of slowly been going downhill. It's like the Union team likes to pick up players that are kind of past their prime, like Connor Casey. Pontius, I guess he has potential to do well, but he's getting older. He's not in his prime anymore. I've seen him when he was really good with DC United, but that was quite a few years ago. He's $7 million. He's going to be playing on the left wing, and I don't want wings on my team, especially if they're Pontius. No offense, buddy. I hope you have a great season. I hope I'm completely wrong, but again, I'm a pessimist, so I doubt we're going to do well with you out there. Sorry, buddy. There's other guys I would personally see out there, but I'm not the coach, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. No, I'm not. All right, moving to the other side, we have Letou, which I have another problem with. I know in Philadelphia he is a fan favorite. Started with the team and he left a couple times. Like he was on 3 different teams in one season, I think. And he's kind of been our goal scorer, our PK taker. I still don't think he's missed one for the Union, which is pretty incredible, to be honest. There's been a few that probably should have been saved, but Letou finds a way to score. He was pretty decent. Oh, puppy's waking up. Pretty decent option last year. Every once in a while, like if there were double game weeks, he was usually the guy people would go for. He's $9 million. Personally, he's not going to be on my team. He's a skinny little rail of a guy, and the possibility for injury is there. It's been haunting him more and more, I think, as the seasons go on. He gets hurt and he takes a while to come back from it. When he's healthy, he's great, but I just don't see a whole lot of hope in him being healthy for the whole season. Now, obviously, in fantasy, you can pick up and trade people whenever you want, so maybe he wouldn't be a bad option to pick up at the start of the season, see how he's doing, get hurt, drop him. No big deal. So moving out to the middle of the field, Barnetta. I think he might be our captain. Well, no, I guess Adu's going to be the captain this year. But Barnetta showed some decent stuff last year. I mean, nothing fantastic. Um, Played 763 minutes. Had 3 assists, 1 goal. Those aren't amazing stats. And he's $8 million. It's not a bad price, but I just, again, I said it earlier with the defense. I think the Union is going to be rotating some people this year because they picked up this guy, Alberg. They've got Fernandez. The mid-season, everybody has looked kind of good. There hasn't really been anybody besides this Yarrow guy I was talking about earlier that has stood out to me. Alberg, I think, will at some point break his way into the season. Great free kick taker. I was kind of thinking he might be the new Maidana for the Union. But in this list, they don't even have him on the starting lineup. So I think we're going to see a lot of manipulation with the Union, like I said earlier. And then last but not least, Sapong. I saw he had a goal this year that he wants to score 20 goals. Man, that would be great, but I just don't think it'll happen. I think there's some really good things that Sapong does on the field. He is great at hold-up play. He is great at keeping the ball until more players can get there to help him. He's a good target forward, but I don't think he's a good finisher. I don't think he's going to score a lot of goals. I really, really hope I'm wrong. At $8 million, it's not bad for a starting forward, but again, I think there's probably better players you can put on your team. So in conclusion, I'm sad. If we'll do the top three like we always do. So I guess number one would probably be Latu, just to start out the season. He finds a way to get points in fantasy. It's not always pretty, but he does. Second would be Sapong for sure, and third, Andre Blake. Seems like I'm usually going with like a midfielder, forward, and goalie. But those are the options, right, puppy?
Oh, that's correct.
So yeah, I'm sad too. Um, so hopefully the Union have a decent year this year. I really hope so. Fantasy wise, I don't care, but I hope they do well. So on to the next video.